first, let's take a look at who a YAYA consumer really is.
They're 18 to 24-year-olds, which means they're at the beginning of adulthood. They have to figure out how to be the employees, consumers, and citizens their world needs them to be. They're part of the youngest demographic that can vote. And on top of that, they're the age group whose futures are most affected by public policy.
If you look below the surface, you'll see that they're trying to solve the problems that their generation is facing. But no one can solve anything without having the right information. So first, let's take a look at how the YAYA individual is consuming the news. First, there is so much news coming their way, and second, it's becoming harder and harder to find the real information. So they're taking it upon themselves to seek it out. Now, YAYA individuals are the new protectors of the truth.
To see them clearly, realize YAYA individuals have a deep distrust in the news. The Knight Foundation reports that half of U.S. adults see made-up news as, The Knight Foundation says the majority of college students have little to no trust in the press to report the news accurately and fairly. They interact with the news every day, whether they're seeking it out or not. CNN is on Snapchat, Newsweek is on Tumblr. The Washington Post is even experimenting with a TikTok. They're overwhelmed by the sheer volume of information.
Plus, now they're citizen journalists. Everyone is posting their take. But are they a real source of news? What about friends and family? What about the president? You see, it's no wonder they're having a hard time finding credible information. The facts are buried under an illusion, fake news. In fact, 35% of YAYA individuals believe that everything is fake news. Everything. That means that even traditionally respected news outlets like the New York Times or the BBC lose credibility.
Fake news weighs more on the YAYA individual than you'd first perceive. Listen to this. Half of U.S. adults see made-up news as one of the biggest problems in the U.S. today, even more problematic than issues like climate change, racism, or terrorism. Not only that, but 68% of U.S. adults say made-up news impacts their confidence in government institutions. Now that may seem surprising, but should it be? You need to see what's really at stake here. It's more than a fear of losing sight of the truth. It's a fear of losing the ability to form their own opinions. 87% of YAYA individuals agree that some news coverage sounds like propaganda.
It seems like they have nowhere to turn for accurate information, so they have to trust fall onto friends and family to catch them up on everything current, because they trust people they know over institutions they don't. They lean on familiarity. News organizations are like strangers to them. 67% of YAYA individuals believe that the media doesn't understand them or people like them. They don't want to be told what to believe by someone who doesn't even understand them. On top of that, just under half of this demographic believes that it's their family and friends who most influence their political beliefs.
If it doesn't totally make sense, look at it this way. When they get news from a family member or friend, they feel comfortable enough to agree, argue, or totally disregard. They get a deeper worldview. They're critical thinkers. They take it upon themselves to peel back the layers of false information to get the real story. 78% of YAYA individuals agree that the media doesn't fact check, so they have to do it themselves. And only 8% of them say they never fact check the news. They're fact checking the fact checkers, and that's not supposed to be their job. But if they don't do it, who will?
YAYA individuals will always search for the truth, but they appreciate it when the news makes it easier on them. Let's look at the New York Times. They publish a weekly fact-check article, and they encourage their readers to call them out through email and Twitter to hold them accountable for accuracy. When we prompted our survey respondents to name their top 3 most trustworthy news sources, the highest percentage of them chose the New York Times. The Times proves that keeping their audience's trust is a priority.
They've been getting more skeptical with the news media. They're losing sight of the truth, and that makes their future a little more unclear. In trying to decide what the future looks like, they've become social entrepreneurs. They've been wanting to tackle these certain issues for a long time, and now the time is right. So let's talk about some political hot topics and how YAYA individuals think they can shape them. They have layers and layers of anxiety. They're worried that the problems they care about might never be solved.
Social issues are a top-of-mind concern for these individuals. In fact, the American Psychological Association says that more than half calls the current political climate a source of stress. On top of that, we're going to dive deeper into this finding. So we gave our survey respondents a list of current social issues and asked them to tell us how often they worry about each of them. at least 72% said that they worry about every single issue that we listed, from data privacy to police brutality to sexual assault. On top of that, more than 1/3 said that they always worry about mass shootings and always worry about discrimination.
Now think about an issue like climate change. It affects the entire world, so of course it's a core concern for this demographic. Sustainability issues worry them because they can't think about the rest of their lives if they're worried they won't have a planet to live on. 88% of YAYA individuals agree that unless we all take immediate action to reduce global warming emissions, these impacts will only get worse. They look at the planet, they see its problems, but they're still looking for someone to provide a real solution.
So another layer of anxiety is added. YAYA individuals feel that they're the ones who have to step up to the responsibility of creating a better world. They believe that a better world and a better America is an inclusive one. They want to be proud of their country. When we asked our survey respondents to tell us what patriotism means to them, they said,
It's being willing to engage in the criticism of something to make it better.
it's not letting America become a place of hate.
It's creating a country where people are allowed to be themselves.
Of over 700 responses, the general theme shows that YAYA individuals believe that loving their country is loving the people in it and making it a better place for them.
They want to make a difference. In fact, at least 77% believe they can make a difference on issues ranging from gun policy to gender equality. And here's how. They're vocal. When we ask YAYA individuals what they think is important to their idea of being an American, 94% believe it's the ability to voice their own opinion, and 87% believe it's engaging in political discussion.
You may expect these individuals to handle certain topics with sensitivity, but you'd be surprised to find that YAYA individuals aren't backing down from having tough conversations, even if it means offending others. 80% believe that political correctness silences important discussions in our society. Some call the YAYA demographic snowflakes, but that is simply not the reality.
However, YAYA individuals don't want to start the social conversations all on their own. Corporations could help lighten the load by addressing issues this demographic cares about. The CLOROX company participated in a day of understanding with 150 other companies. They had open and honest conversations surrounding sensitive topics that may make headlines, but normally would be avoided at the office. Not only that, but they had a Check Your Blind Spot tour bus where employees could put on VR goggles and experience their career through a different lens.
Companies like this let YAYA individuals know that a better society is almost within reach. So we talked about how they're starting the change. Now let's talk about how they're going to get it all done. The number of challenges tower over 18 to 24-year-olds if they act alone. So YAYA individuals are putting out their Help Wanted sign. They need reliable allies and people in power to help lift their weight.
Yes, YAYA consumers can do a lot on their own. Today's 18 to 24-year-old is the most individualistic generation yet. Except when it comes to large-scale societal issues, they know that collaboration is the key to long-term relief.
That's right. Nearly 90% of young adults agree that a better global future can be achieved through collaboration. This means that they want to see solutions in writing. They want legislative changes that cut under the surface to deliver results.
They can't keep waiting for officials to act, so they reach out to another source of help: corporations. If a corporation doesn't support them, they won't support it. YAYA individuals have high expectations and will call out those who don't meet them. In fact, YAYA individuals want corporations to do some heavy lifting. More than 70% of YAYA individuals believe that corporations should address issues ranging from climate change to data privacy. They expect brands to be good corporate citizens, but on top of that, they want corporations to be their friends who support them and empathize with them. But if companies aren't being supportive, the YAYA demographic has a backup plan. Dare we say cancel culture? It's a public shaming phenomenon where any person or brands can be called out on social media and declared canceled.
We found that over half of this demographic would write a bad review online if a brand disappointed them, or they would just boycott the company altogether. They're standing their ground, and they refuse to lower their standards for anyone, even employers. More than half of this demographic would refuse a job offer from a company that isn't green, and just under half would be willing to accept lower pay at a company that is green.
They're tired of corporations letting them down. But luckily, they see the bigger picture. They have the power to start the change and call on corporations to help them finish it. Take Everlane, for example. Last month, when President Trump officially pulled out of the Paris Agreement, Everlane donated $50,000 to the Natural Resources Defense Council, making themselves active advocates. Not only that, but they asked their consumers to call their elected officials, as well as share with the company what they do to fight the climate crisis in their community.
Working with you is the answer they've been looking for, and it's been hidden in plain sight all this time. You see, they're smart individuals, and they've learned how to get the results they want. YAYA individuals can use their own influence to unify leaders and citizens. Not to be all kumbaya, but YAYA individuals are looking for ways to connect with people. Because when you really understand them for who they are, you'll see they care about being good citizens, not just for their own benefit, but for everyone else's. Collaboration is the answer.